All right, welcome to the reaction show. Ole Miss a 4-3 winner over Florida State tonight to go to the regional final against the winner of the Southern Miss Florida State game. Before we get started, I do want to tell you about the Vault Society. That is the big push for the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation. What it is a 5-year commitment of support, $5,000 a year, and there's a benefit chart on the site. We'll tell you the address in a second. But you need to know that all gifts to Ole Miss between now and June 30th will receive triple points. Red points are non-deductible and go towards priority seating. Blue points are 90% tax deductible and go towards parking and non-home ticketed games, postseason, bowl games, neutral site. This would be a pretty good example of that. If you have any questions about that, go to give2athletics.com. Again, website is give2athletics.com. I'm here with Chris Muller. We're going to give all the reaction to the baseball game. What'd you think, Chris?
I thought it was terrific tonight. Doug Day, hashtag Doug Day, did not disappoint again. Doug went 7 full innings, tied the school record with 16 strikeouts. The last person to do that was Drew Pomerantz, for those of you that have been around for a while, 2009, also in a regional, interestingly enough. Doug joined a pretty elite club tonight, a 10-win, 100-strikeout club, joining Ryan Rollison, Jamie Price, and Pete Montrez. So just an electric atmosphere, as Doug described it in postgame, and I was going to say it anyway, but an electric atmosphere at Swayze this evening. Literally, the crowd hung on every pitch by Doug, which you just don't see that often. From a crowd to really get behind a pitcher with every pitch that he throws. And just so impressed by Doug, his composure after the 2 home runs in the 5th inning by Florida State, to come back from that and continue to pitch at a really, really high level. He was dominant except for the 2 home runs. So I don't know what more we could say about Doug. The energy that he brings to the crowd, as well as the energy that he brings to the dugout, is just phenomenal. We've talked on this show before about how much he brings to the team into their energy. What did you think watching from home, Steve?
Oh, it almost appeared after he gave up the 2 home runs, he hit another gear. And I don't know if you knew this, but he came into the night 19th in the country in strikeouts. He ended the ninth 5th.
Wow. I did not know that. That's really amazing stat. I also want to give a lot of props to Taylor Broadway for the second night in a row. Came in, faced the minimum number of batters again. So for 2 nights in a row, we've brought Taylor Broadway in, and he's faced the minimum. Tonight it was 6 batters, 3 strikeouts, and brings him up to 15 saves on the year. So really phenomenal to have Doug on the hill to start things off, and then be able to bring Taylor in to shut the door. And obviously Florida State, the game was still in question at that point. Obviously we only won by a run, and so Broadway really had to do some really good work to secure the win for the Rebels. It was not one of those saves where he gets brought in and has a nice 3-run cushion and is able to allow some base runners here or there. He's really got to be dominant, and he was again this evening.
And 2 quick points that I think we need to take away from this game. First of all, the fans did a fantastic job. They helped pick up the team. It kept pushing and pushing and created a relentless atmosphere. Congratulations for that. And second of all, starting, I think, in the 5th inning, we loaded the bases with 1 out, didn't score. Then we were in scoring position in the 6th inning. Then we were in scoring position again. Now, pressure makes diamonds, but also pressure busts pipes. There would not be in a position for a mistake to be made by the shortstop if we weren't continually putting runners in scoring position, and that is where the relentlessness of this team comes in.
There's no doubt. I continue to be impressed really every game with the things that they do, whether they're up in the game or down in the game, and how much pressure they're putting, like you said, on the other team. There were a couple situations that I thought were a little interesting. That 6th inning that you talked about with the bases loaded, when we loaded them up with 1 out, and then Hayden Dunhurst, swung at a pitch that was down and outside, and then TJ got picked off of first. In postgame, Mike was asked what happened with that, or what he would say to the player after that happened. And his response was, "What in the hell were you doing?" So I'm sure they'll have an interesting conversation after they watch the tape and see how McCants got picked off. Another interesting fact was all 4 of the Ole Miss runs were scored off of errors. So the error in the first allowed 2 runs to come home. One was earned, the other was not unearned. And then the error in the seventh inning was on that overthrow where Elko chugged it out or was able to get the first, which I think if that shortstop really knew who was batting and knew who the runner was at that time, he takes an extra second or two and throws the ball over to first. So I'm not going to say we got lucky, but it was a fortunate situation for us.
Yeah, and you look at the contrast between our shortstop, Jacob Gonzalez, who has an excellent internal clock and perhaps made the play of the game in the eighth inning, barehanding the ball to get the runner at first, to the mental timer that's on the Florida State stop with that Tim Elko hit to him. You can see that's where the game was won. Jacob Gonzalez versus their shortstop.
Jacob Gonzalez is an elite level shortstop. For as long as he stays at Ole Miss, we are going to be very fortunate to have him. He will go down in history as one of the greatest shortstops ever to play here. And to say that is putting him in extremely rare company. We've had a lot of great shortstops that have come through Ole Miss. In the last couple of years, we've had Errol Robinson, who's in AAA right now. We've had Gray Kessinger. But I do believe that Jacob Gonzalez will end up outperforming him. He's a freshman. He's hitting over 350 for the year. You just don't see that as a freshman. Go back, and I think you were the one that pointed it out, but go back and look at Gray's stats as a senior, as a junior, his last year here at Ole Miss, and they compare favorably to what Jacob Gonzalez is doing in his first year.
Yeah, he's absolutely an elite player. I don't know if his final position is going to be shortstop. I still think there's a chance he can move over in the infield, but he is an absolutely elite player.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we do next year in that regard. But we've got a lot of baseball left to play, and I'm really excited about that. Like you talked about, we're going to await the winner of the Florida State Southern Miss game. One thing that's been really interesting for me to see about Florida State in this tournament series, has been their propensity to hit the long ball and the number of home runs they have scored off the long ball. I don't remember the exact total from Friday against Southern Miss, but all three of their runs tonight were in that fifth inning, and all three of them were off of home runs. So really interesting. The first home run was their center fielder, and I looked up at the scoreboard, and I was like, this young man has 0 RBIs and 0 home runs, and how is he playing in this game? And literally, as I said that to myself or the guy I was sitting next to, literally he hit the ball over the fence. And it was I don't know what it looked like on TV, but it was a no-doubter. There was nobody in the stadium that did not know that ball was gone off the bat. So, really interesting approach to the game. Obviously, they're playing to their strengths, but the home run ball is obviously one of their strengths.
Yeah, and tomorrow, obviously, we're going to be unable to do a preview because we're going to have to wait to see who Ole Miss plays. But going into tomorrow in that early game, what do you expect?
I expect that Southern Miss has run out of pitching, and I expect that Florida State will continue to use the long ball. So I do see Florida State making out of that game and rematching up with Ole Miss tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, weather dependent. We are going to throw Tyler Myers, the right-hander. We are going to throw Drew McDaniel, the right-hander. It was almost breaking news, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought you were breaking news there.
Yeah, no, we're going to throw Drew McDaniel, the sophomore. At least he's the scheduled starter. Sophomore, 5-1 on the year, 5.14 ERA, 69 strikeouts, 22 walks, and we'll have a full bullpen ready. So this is kind of one of those games where you get in trouble and we're probably going to the next guy up, whether that's Jackson Kimbrell. I'm sure Jack Doherty can go back again. Tyler Myers, you talked about a little bit. Wes Burton's available. Cody Adcock's available. There are a ton of arms left in the bullpen. I'm not going to say Mike's going to turn out all the stops for tomorrow because obviously it's not a winner-take-all game from our standpoint, but it sure would be nice to put this thing to bed on Sunday night and await the winner of the Arizona Regional and see who that is.
Yeah, I'm watching that right now, their game in the winner's bracket against Santa Barbara. They're currently up 2-0. And did you know Arizona Stadium and the gaps is 402 and dead center is like 390? Interesting tidbit.
Yeah, did not know that.
Yeah,
it's a pretty decent sized stadium. It's a spring training park for Major League Baseball. It seats about 9,500. So if we go out there, there'll be plenty of room for people. So we'll see what happens. I know Oklahoma State won the game earlier this morning, so they'll match up with the loser of tonight's game. Interesting stuff around the conference. I think I tried to talk about it as we were signing off the air last night. I know the video didn't get taken, but if you haven't seen the Tennessee walk-off grand slam from last night, I do encourage you to go take a look at that. That was pretty amazing stuff. It was very theatrical. The young athlete made it very theatrical, including a bat flip that I don't know if the bat has landed yet.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen anybody pep a home run like that in the history of baseball. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Took him about 15 seconds to get the first, I think. And then as he rounded third and headed to home, he took his helmet off and slung it to the mound. I really don't know what was going on. The Tennessee fans absolutely went crazy. I told somebody today if there was field storming in baseball, it would have happened last night at Tennessee. Another thing that happened throughout the tournament is I believe Florida got bounced earlier today. So they went 0-2 in their own regional. So I would assume that Kevin O'Sullivan's phone is pretty hot right now, rumored for the LSU position. So we'll see what happens, and hopefully the LSU AD stays fishing east and not goes fishing north.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see, Arkansas had to call the cops in the fourth inning against the number 4 seed in the very first game. That was interesting. LSU, I think, won through a walk-off. It's fun watching this NCAA tournament college baseball thing. It's one of the first years that I paid attention to other teams beside Ole Miss in this tournament. So it's kind of good to see. It's kind of fun to watch.
It's a great tournament. I kind of wish it was spread out a little bit more. I really like watching live baseball, which is why I'm here at Swayze. But it is, if you've seen I think it's called Squeeze Play now. It was Bases Loaded, but they changed the name. Really good product. You're able to watch a lot of games, and they transfer to action as it happens. So check that out if you have ESPN or ESPN platforms. I don't think it's on terrestrial TV, but you can check it out on ESPN3.
As good of a night as we had, do you want to feel better?
We only got 4 hits, so that was a little, I'm not going to say disappointing, but I would have rather seen us have more hits. Kevin Graham, I think he's at 56 now on base streak, so he had 2 of the 4 Rebel hits. So I guess a little bit more consistency at the plate and being able to pound out a few more runs. We got the win. That's really all that matters. We're going to church on Sunday morning and sitting at home watching the Florida State USM game and see where that goes. So I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Don't want to be greedy. A 1-run victory is the same victory as a 10-run victory. So it goes in the exact same column.
Well, picture this. At Duty Noble Field, because of a rain delay, they're currently in the 4th inning.
What score do we have?
I have to look over. Just give me a second. I'll look it up real
All
quick.
Right.
They were up at one point like 3-1 over VCU. And let's see. 5-1. Oh, they made it into the 5th inning now. So they're in the 5th inning, 5-1. But that thing's going to end after midnight tonight. And Arizona looks like they're starting to take control of this baseball game.
Okay, so it looks like Arizona is going to be in the driver's seat and kind of sitting in the same spot we are, with the team having to come back and win 2 games. I do believe that Oklahoma State has that ability. So we'll see what happens tomorrow in that regional. And, hopefully, like I said, we're able to close things out tomorrow at 5 and then sit and see what happens and, head to Tucson if we need to and take down the Pac-10 and Pac-12 now, sorry, and head on up to Nebraska as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's nice to be in the regional final to where we can do a little bit of watching other regionals and seeing what's going on because we were able to take care of business in the first 2 games.
Absolutely. Really excited for tomorrow. I know Swayze is going to be alive from a standpoint of bringing the energy to the team. This team's really just got a bunch of really great guys on it. So I encourage everybody to come out. If you can find your way into the stadium, either via general admission, beg, borrow, or steal from your friends to get a ticket. And I'll see everybody at Swayze tomorrow.
All right, Chris Muller at Swayze Field, talking about the regional. Ole Miss 4-3 winners over Florida State. They await them or USM in the regional final. For Chris Muller, I'm Stephen Willis, and of course, always, hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy.